Hey everyone, welcome to Talk Sustain to Me. I'm here with my friend Desmond today. I met Desmond while working as a sustainability project assistant at an urban biodiversity museum in Hong Kong. Desmond is a young professional with extensive experience in sustainability. He is now a senior officer at an in-house sustainability team of a leading property development firm. And he is here today to share his insights with us about sustainability in real estate, property development, and green buildings. Hey Desmond, I'm happy that you're here. Thanks for joining us.
Hi Natalie, thanks for inviting me to this episode. My name is Desmond, and I have been joining the workforce in the field of sustainability for around 4 years. And yeah, it's happy to meet you all in Talk Sustain to Me here.
Let's share more about yourself. Like, what did you study at university and what's your current job?
Back in 3 to 4 years before, when I was studying in the Education University of Hong Kong, my major study is global and environmental study, and it's a very interdisciplinary subject, which have half of the course we study as a social science background student, and we learn about, for example, public policies making. Another half, it's about natural science. For example, we study waste, we study the water treatment, and we also do some field trip and field exercise in near the Education University, the campus in Sai Kung or nearby. It's a very fruitful journey in the past 4 years, and I've met a lot of like-minded classmates, which they eventually end up in the field same as me. And, after my graduations, and I've joined some part-time works. For example, I work in a K11 Concept Limited, and it's a project-based part-time, it happens to be in floor in K11 Museum, which it's a commercial retail shopping mall located in Tsim Sha Tsui, and it's a project level. We try to make some initiatives related to UN SDGs, and it's a showcase of urban biodiversity exhibits around there. And then after a couple of years of work joining the consultancy role and in-house, of which I can explain more in details later a bit. And then I took the top master course in the Polytechnic University, which it's my major is also sustainable urban development. I needed to do some very technical study and choose some subjects which related to building services. For example, how we cool off buildings in the summer time, or how we try to use some initiative, for example, renewable energy. We try to implement them in a building perspective.
You were working as a senior officer at an in-house sustainability department of a leading property development and investment management company. Can you share more about your work as an officer at an in-house real estate firm?
The time when I was working in a consultancy, and then I have a very good opportunity to explore some in-house role. And first of all, I have joined the Undergrad Holdings. So that's another conglomerate holding company in Hong Kong, which is so back in that time it should be a subsidiaries under the Newer Group Limited, which is another real estate developer. And so back there, I've joined some initiatives. I've support my team as a sustainability officer back then, and some initiatives I took lead. For example, we engage our in-house colleagues. We try to do some educational trainings and workshops, and some key highlights I would say is, for example, we have participate in the net zero decarbonization roadmap. So it's a very new things that to me in that time. For now, I've been working in Hysan Development Company Limited. So it's another real estate developer in Hong Kong, and which headquartered in Causeway Bay area. And so I think the scope of work it remains the same because based on my grade and my job description, I think in every in-house corporate it should be more or less the same, but because of the nature of business, which I have more exposure on the building side, for example, we have to regularly catch up with our property management team, which we so-called TS technical service. And then they have some initiative we have taken. We try to work with them side by side. For example, we have initiated a biodiversity study, and it's we try to cope with external NGOs partner, Outdoor Wildlife Learning, so OWL Hong Kong, and we have execute some biodiversity baselining study. We try to understand the ecological importance around the Causeway Bay portfolio, and of course there are a bunch of list of and other initiative we do on very much on waste that bit due to the existing policy updates. We try to catch up with the ESG the trend which has been evolved in the past 1 to 2 years. For example, that have been given by the Hong Kong EX or the international the changes in TCFD and ISSB ones. So it's a big it's a very big volume of work back then. Eventually, it's a very fruitful journey for me, and it's a truly a remarkable time spent in Hysan.
Well, now let's talk about some of the frameworks related to property and real estate. Like, first of all, like GRESB. I know that like one of your works is to support the submission of the GRESB questionnaire. Well, could you share more about it? Like, what is GRESB and what's your work related to it?
I just call them GRESB, and some will say it's GRESB. It's the same saying. So I think it's similar to other ESG rating tools. It's a kind of rating, but it seems more to be a very sector specific, which tailor-made to real estate sector. So because of the characteristic on some KPIs or matrix, they have data collection points in particular by projects and by different level of details. For example, down to floor level submetering, or the record of the consumption data. It could be very detailed to building level. So it's unlike the CDP or MSCI Sustainalytics ones, because they are focused on the performance, the overall general performance of a corporate, the company as a group itself. So it's a more detailed and at entity level, and the timeline for it is usually from May to July. There are a few submissions and reviews. So if we look at the time now, it should be something we have been working on, as well as other peers doing so far.
Can you share more about some green building frameworks, like the WELL, the LEED, like the famous ones? How much of your work is involved in green buildings?
So most of the popular green building standard, I can shout out some of the few, like the WELL or the LEED, BREEAM, BREEAM. So some of them are country based, because actually for LEED or WELL, most of them are originated in US, but for example BREEAM, it's originated in UK. But I think some of those are having a higher exposure in global saying, and some of them are more country based. For example, the Green Mark in Singapore. And but for me, as I've joined the industry for a couple of few years, I would say the LEED and WELL is the most popular ones among all. And so for WELL, it examines a building in a human-centric way. It's more likely to understand the concepts of well-being and healthy lifestyle, and how the management systems embedded those, or try to enable those in a single building projects. While the LEED is a more complicated one, I would say, because they have include different substandards based on the use of buildings. For example, it's is it a school, is it a medical center, or is it residential projects or new renovated ones? So it differs in by different substandards, and eventually if you are pursuing in each one particular, it took quite a while, because you need to get understand of different elements. For example, water energy, because there's a bit similarity and difference by each substandards. So I think in general, our team, when I was working back in Hysan, we mainly focus to oversee the whole portfolio, the submission in the whole portfolio once, because as our major role, we try to oversee the whole submission or the whole ownership of the green buildings certificates from time to time. We try to set out our own KPIs, or we try to set some targets. For example, by the next 5 years, 5 out of 10 Hysan owned buildings will attain certain level of green building standards. So that's one example. The second one is we try to cope with different stakeholders. For example, so it's a new construction project that we have to deal with the main contractors, but we also line up our own project department, and we try to get them know that we try to achieve. We're heading to some certain level of standards by the completion of those projects. So and we let out the project managers or the project consultants to talk with them directly to make sure it's on the right track. But of course, we also noticed some of the developments of the latest trends. For example, there is a white score. There is so white score and smart score. It's more on the building intelligence phasing. So it's a new concept to most of the sustainability team or properties owners in global.
Well, in order to learn more about green building standards and their frameworks, I know that some people like you would try to get some professional certificates related to green buildings. For example, I know you got the WELL AP by the International WELL Building Institute and the LEED Green Associate certificate by the GBCI. Can you share more about these programs and how did you obtain these certificates?
I think it's important for us to get very abreast of what's happening so far in terms of professional credentials. For the LEED and WELL, which are administered by the IWBI and the USGBC separately, and I think it should be the most easiest credentials that I would recommend the other sustainability practitioners to pursue, because in terms of the relevance to the projects or the works that I've been doing, most of the initiatives, they actually orbit around the major concepts or the major pillars of the WELL and the USGBC are the lead ones. For example, we try to set our own energy carbon targets, but at the same time, in achieving some certain level of achievements in LEED or WELL, and then we need to make some initiatives, and we need to oblige to some targets or some baseline based on what the LEED level have been set to us. So as an in-house practitioner, how we can understand the easiness, or how we can advise the counterparts which will help us to execute the data collections, or to carry out all the project designs eventually. It really needs us to get a good and easy understanding of these green building standards. And I'll say it's these two green building certificates is a very good tools for us to understand some basic knowledge if you are not very familiarized with some building or some concepts related. So it's an easy start. In cost, saying it's relatively cheaper than those in other similar certification programs. That, for example, in a previous video in your channel, there's a SCR or some advanced certificates, I would say.
Thanks for watching those.
Yes, and these are more, I would say it's a cheaper one, and it's good for students if you are taking your undergraduate study, the 4 years program. You probably would like to click on those and see if you would like to spend some time to get those begin first.
Great, that's a lot of fruitful sharing. One final question for you is so far, how's your experience of working in the real estate sustainability sector? Any final thoughts?
One sentence saying of this industry is the real estate industry is actually having a general stable, or it's a more bit slow pace in relatively compared to finance or other fast-growing industry, because I would say because of its business nature or because of its profit model. But I think it's good for us to understand some companies' specific rationale when we are working in different real estate developers, because each of them are, for example, they are owned by different family business, or each of them they carry some different opinion or some shared values on how they prioritize different key issues, some materials issues among themselves. At the same time, I think it's also challenging for us to work in the real estate industry because there are too many sustainability topics going on, and it's too many things on one plate. But I think in general, the engagement skills is the most important thing for me, or as I would suggest most of the friends we try to work in this industry to pay attention to, because it made me a very good organizational player, especially in very large company, because we need to do a lot of engagement.
Well, Desmond, this is such an interesting conversation. Thank you so much for sharing. So today we've learned a lot more about real estate sustainability. And for anyone who wants to learn more, you can feel free to connect with Desmond on LinkedIn. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. See you in the next video.